As you can see, it is snowing out here. And what a better way to start a snowy morning but with chocolate muffins. I made these delicious chocolate muffins with cocoa powder, chocolate syrup, and loaded them with milk chocolate chips. So let's get out of the snow here and let's go inside where I'll show you how to make these delicious chocolate muffins. So let's bake. It's good to get out of the cold and snow, so let's get started. We're going to start with our dry ingredients because this is a muffin recipe, and in the muffin method, you start with your dry ingredients, and then you start with your liquid ingredients, and then you put them together. So let's get started with our dry ingredients. I have here 1/2 cup of unbleached flour. To that, I add 1/2 cup of whole wheat pastry flour, 2/3 cup of cocoa powder, 1 teaspoon of espresso powder, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1 1/4 cups of sugar. We're going to whisk all of our ingredients together. As you saw, I added a little espresso powder, and that is because espresso powder will help amplify or enhance that chocolate flavor. So, but you won't taste the coffee because I don't really care for coffee, and so I don't taste the coffee. I also added some whole wheat pastry flour because I like adding a little whole wheat flour to my baked goods, and whole wheat pastry flour is lighter in texture. So we're going to get this all mixed up. So what I do is I turn the bowl a little bit on its side because it seems like there's always a little bit of flour on the bottom. And this way I know I'm getting all that flour off the bottom. Okay, now that that's whisked together, it's time to add our 1 cup of milk chocolate chips. And I'm using milk chocolate chips because the cocoa powder is a bit bitter, and so this brings a little bit more sweetness to our muffins. So we're just going to mix those in, and we're going to set this aside. Okay, so now it's time to put our wet ingredients together. So I have here 2 eggs, and I'm just going to slightly whisk them together. I have 1 cup of buttermilk, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. I'm adding 1 tablespoon of chocolate syrup because I wanted to add a little more chocolate to this recipe, and chocolate syrup just brings another dimension of chocolate to this recipe. So 1 tablespoon of chocolate syrup, and we want to get all that good chocolate syrup in there, all of it. I have here 1/2 cup of butter, which I've melted, and it's cooled down just a little bit. So we're going to add this in. And it will clump up just a little bit, but that's okay. So get our dry ingredients back. And now it's time to put our dry ingredients and our wet ingredients together. So I just make a little well in my dry ingredients, and I'm going to add the wet ingredients to it. Just going to stir this until it's just combined. You do not want to overmix your batter here. Okay, all of our ingredients are mixed together, and it is a thick batter, and it will be lumpy, and that's okay. We just want it to come together. I have here a 12-cup muffin tin, and what I do is I spray it with a little baking spray, and then I wipe it down with a paper towel, just get the excess off. So I like using a scooper, and this is a number 12 scooper. It's about 1/3 cup. I like using a scooper because then I can get just about the right amount in each muffin tin cup, and it doesn't make a big mess. So we're going to scoop these in. And there's the last one. These are so delicious and so chocolatey. So now I preheated my oven to 400 degrees. We're going to bake these for 18 to 22 minutes. Okay, our chocolate muffins are done baking. And how you check your chocolate muffins to see if they're done baking, because you don't want to overbake them, is when you do the toothpick test. And the toothpick should come out with a little bit of crumb on it, but not wet. The other test is if you have an instant thermometer and you put that in there, it should register about 200 degrees. So those are the two ways you check them. So we're going to let these sit for 5 minutes, cool down just a little bit, and then we're going to kind of let the steam out. Okay, it's been 5 minutes, and what we're going to do is let the steam out. And that helps prevent soggy bottoms. So what I do is I just kind of lift it up and let the steam out. We'll put it back in there. We're going to do that to each one of these. Just let the steam out of each one of these. Okay. Now that we let all the steam out, we're going to take them out and let them cool completely. So I'm going to take them out of the muffin tin here and let them cool completely. Okay, our chocolate muffins are cool, so now it's time to try one. So open this up. That looks so good inside. You can see the chocolate chips are all nice and melted, so it's time to try it. These are so tender. Now the difference between a muffin and a cupcake is that a muffin has a more coarse texture and a cupcake has much more finer, tender texture. These are so chocolatey good. They're so moist and chocolatey good, and all that chocolate flavor coming out, and then those milk chocolate chips in there. These are so good. For the complete recipe, please go to my website, sconebaking.com, and there is a link below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and please subscribe for future videos. I hope this recipe inspires you to bake. Thank you for watching.